May I ask you, who besides my colleagues in uniform is employed with customs? Can I see some hands, please? I guess the rest is now very jealous. Because where in the past children wanted to become a train driver or a pilot, after having seen this, I guess they all want to become customs officers. Customs is an exciting job. Looking at, for example, our task of safety and security. After the terrorist attacks, a little over a decade ago in the US, and incidents like the printer bomb, the world of customs has changed, and we nowadays have to contribute a lot to safety and security of the international society. We have information available about goods coming into our territory and goods leaving our territory even days before the shipments start. And we analyze this information, and we try to find criminal goods, fraudulent goods, and we try to prevent terrorist attacks from happening. We contribute to the safety and security of the society. And we do that next to our traditional task. We were founded ages ago, contributing and collecting money for the state. We are simply annoying tax officers. Most people forget that because we're friendly most of the time, and you even saw our state secretary just before talking about taxes, and levying and collecting taxes, that is our main task. And where in Europe, levying and collecting taxes at importation is not the most important task anymore, because what we contribute to the European budget is only a small part. Well, there are countries in the world where the import duties even cover up to 70–80% of the national budget. But we do not only collect taxes for the state, we also collect taxes on the request of trade. Where trade thinks they are damaged in their selling and in their commercial activities because products are sold here on our markets to prices lower than the price on the market of production. We call that anti-dumping duties. So these are indeed taxes, but taxes which we levy and collect on request of the international industry. And we do more for the international industry. Counterfeit. We have about 2,000 different pieces of legislation that we monitor while we are monitoring the goods, when we are monitoring and we are controlling for safety and security and taxes. We monitor whether counterfeit goods are entering our territory. And on the one side, we do it to protect the economy, but you see the false medicines. We also control to contribute to the health of our society. And we control the endangered species and plants, the illegal export and import and the international trade. And next to that, we control the transport of international waste. As said, about 2,000 different pieces of legislation we have to deal with. And dealing with a lot of different tasks, at the same time that we control it, we have to do everything fast and efficient. We are ranked and we are judged by a lot of different international organizations in the world. The World Trade Organization demands us to work fast and efficient. We have the World Bank and the World Economic Forum. They send out questionnaires to the industry all over the world, and they ask what is the amount of procedures and the amount of documents you have to provide before you may enter or you may leave a country. They ask about, does customs, do they handle speedy? Are they efficient? Are they working fast? And all these international rankings, they contribute to our position on the international indexes, as just before mentioned by Mr. Wiebes. The importance of those indexes nowadays of, let's say, even political relevance. So customs have a task to serve our national politics. And there are even individual industries, like there you see the DHL Global Connectedness Index, which I like. In fact, most of all the different questionnaires and reports there are in the world, they ask their customers about the performance of customs all over the world. And the reason I like that one most is since it was launched for the first time, we are always at #1 in the Netherlands. But also our national politics. They ask us to speed up customs handling and to simplify procedures. And then sometimes even they tend to forget that we are doing all this on behalf of Europe. The Netherlands is 1 out of 28 European countries. The majority, 99% of the legislation, is published in Europe, and we have to be a part of the European community. And looking at the different tasks and the pressure that we have upon us, we have to do all that work on a very small geographical area. You see in the Netherlands, 1 out of 28 in Europe, just a small dot on the global map, and this small geographical area covers the harbor of Rotterdam, which is one of the largest in the world, the harbor of Amsterdam, number 4 in the world, and in Europe, and we have Schiphol Airport. And these few ports, they cover about 25% of European imports. They cover all the inbound and outbound traffic is about 1/3 of what is going in and out of Europe. So we have to do all this work on a small geographical area. We have huge flows of goods, but at the same time, we're only a few people. You already saw a few people running around in uniform. We have only 4,200 officers in our administration. And this is out of 120,000 in Europe. So with less than 4% of the European staff, we have to cover about, let's say, 1/3 of the European traffic. And if you want to do all this in the right way, if you want to, as a customs officer, serve all those different tasks, and at the same time to serve the economy and to do everything fast and efficient, and to do all this on a small geographical area, somehow, if you want to do it right, you may become schizophrenic.
Here lies a dilemma. Because inspections cost time and money, some goods are not inspected. Knowing this could open the doors wide to ill-meaning forces, wherever they might be. And so, Dutch customs authorities face a serious challenge: to supervise all cross-border movements of goods and to enforce all national and international laws, whilst at the same time restricting hold-ups, hassle and bureaucratic interventions to an absolute minimum.
I'm sorry. Not now. No, I'm sorry. Women. So now my wife just called me, and I have to bring some milk and some apples when I'm going home. But it's none of our business now. But I have to go to the supermarket after this event. But that's for a later question. But if you think about all the different tasks, maybe we have a look at the supermarket. Maybe we can have a look on how things run off in the supermarket. In the supermarket, 0.5% of the goods is being stolen. This is a fact. And the best thing to prevent of goods being stolen is to build concrete walls around the supermarket. 4 concrete walls around it, a concrete floor and a concrete ceiling. And you put all the groceries inside, and you know one thing for sure, nothing's being sold anymore. And you know another thing for sure, no clients will show up anymore. So building concrete walls around the supermarket to prevent 0.5% of the goods being stolen, that's not the perfect way to do it. So you have to do it different. The general solution we always have to protect ourselves against incidents is to implement measures which we implement on everyone. Take, for example, a football stadium. In a football stadium, we have a few people that commit riots, hooligans. And thousands of people, they want to watch a match, and only a few, they spoil it for everyone. And how do we prevent this from happening? Everyone has to become a club member of the football club if you want to watch a match. So everyone somehow becomes a victim of us protecting us against a few idiots. And the football stadium is not the only place where it happens. The same happens when you do international traveling. Somewhere back in 2006, in August 2006, there was some terrorist caught in the UK, and it was said that they tried to commit a terrorist attack on board of a plane, and they took some bottle of liquids. And They said, this may never happen. You may never have a terrorist attack on a plane used by liquids. So what happened? Nowadays, we all have to stand in line for hours sometimes, go through security checks, and you're not even allowed to bring along your perfume, your aftershave, or a bottle of water in the plane. So again, a measure where everyone becomes a victim because a very few people want to commit riots. And this is in fact exactly the same as a supermarket does. When the supermarket wants to prevent 0.5% of the goods being stolen, what they do, they put in extra cameras, they put in extra guards, they put in extra gates. So somehow everyone is bothered by all those security measures, and the question whether it helps, probably not, because the thief is smarter, and whatever you do, at the end he might still run away. So again, measures taken up onto everyone, put on everyone, and the effect of it probably is zero, or at least very low. So the supermarket says, we can do it different. The supermarket said, if 0.5% of the goods is being stolen, then you may assume that 99.5% of the clients is compliant. And instead of only focusing on the stolen goods, the supermarket suddenly started focusing on the compliant clients. And they started thinking for you. When you go to a supermarket, they started thinking about what is burdening you as a compliant client in the supermarket. And then they started to think about your logistics. And your logistics is that you take a trolley outside of the supermarket, and the first thing you do, you start putting in all your groceries. And at the end, when you've put in all the groceries in your trolley, you come at the cashier and you take out all the groceries and you put them on the belt at the cashier. And the cashier is scanning all the groceries and you put them back in the trolley. Then after having paid, you take your trolley, you bring it to the car, and you put all your groceries in the trunk of your car. You park away the trolley, and the next step is that you drive home, and at home you open the trunk of your car and you take out all the groceries. And then you start putting all the groceries on the kitchen sink. When the last goods are taken out of the trunk of your car, you park away your car, you come into the kitchen, and you start putting all the groceries that are placed on the kitchen sink, you start putting them away in the cupboard. And maybe you've never thought of it, but at the moment you start consuming your groceries, they went through your hands on average already 8 times. But the supermarket, they did. They thought about you. They thought about what was bothering you, and the supermarket said, why shouldn't we make things easier for the honest clients? Why shouldn't we make life simpler for the honest clients? And that is when the supermarket, and some of you may know it, they suddenly introduced the system of self-scanning. And what does self-scanning mean? You still have to take the trolley outside and you drive into the supermarket with the trolley, but what you do is you put a box in the trolley and you take out all the groceries out of the stack and you start scanning it and you put the goods immediately in the box. At the end of the shop, you do not have to take anything out the trolley anymore. You put your handheld in a pay machine and you pay. You simply pick out the box and put it in the trunk of your car. So less logistics for you as a consumer. For the part of logistics that the supermarket can influence for you, they made life easier for you. But they don't do it for everyone. They only do it for the compliant clients. And if you want to be a compliant client, then you have to show some transparency. You have to tell the supermarket who you are. You have to register at the supermarket. You have to give away your identity. And while giving away your identity, you have to tell the supermarket where you live. And you may never have thought of it, but as soon as you register where you live, the supermarket knows about your street, they know about your house, and they know about the average mortgage in your street, So they probably know what risks may occur with you as a person. All kind of information they have available at the background. And at supermarket, they have more stores. And they also have stores where your children probably buy. So by having all the information also of those stores available, they know exactly what your whole family is consuming. And on the one side, they can make tailor-made offers to you, but they also know about your average consumption. They know about the risks that may occur with you. And based on all that information, they probably start determining for you what you will have for Christmas dinner next year. They think for you. And you have the feeling that you are treated well. Self-scanning is the perfect system where the compliant client has an easier way to shop, less logistical burdens, and at the same time the supermarket has a better hold on you as a client. And they even go a further, the next step. They even start home delivery. And home delivery increases the risk for the supermarket. You simply order your groceries online, and as soon as you've ordered them online, they will deliver all the groceries at home. And they even hand the groceries to you before you pay. And this is quite a risk, that you release goods before you have had any payment. So they only will do that if they have even more information about your available. You're more than only a club member and transparent. You have to give everything about your credit points, your credibility. And what this brings, the approach of the supermarket, is that 99.5% of the clients have a higher level of facilitation, and it brings that the supermarket save money. They save a lot of money because they do not have to invest in a lot of different security measures which apply on everyone, and they do not have to invest in a lot of cashiers. So on the one side, you have an excellent trade facilitation, and on the other side, they save money. But this money, they do not save it. This money, they start investing in thinking different. A complete new approach of thinking different. Because by thinking different, they start focusing on the 0.5%. They start focusing on what kind of goods are being stolen in the supermarket. And in fact, these goods are the 8 most stolen goods in supermarkets. And you see here the cheese, so you know what to take home after this conference. And they rely on you. I guess you'll all pay. But by analyzing the goods that are being stolen, they start looking, when are those goods being stolen? Are the most goods being stolen in the morning or in the evening? Or is it on Monday or on Friday? So they really start putting the focus on the 0.5%. And they start looking, where are the goods stacked? Are they stacked high in the stack, or are they low? Are they in the back of the shop, or are they in the front of the shop? And all this information is being used for analyzation. And after analyzing all the details about the stolen goods, they start rethinking the concept. They start rethinking the concept of the supermarket, starting with different stacking of the most stolen goods. Instead of putting the most stolen goods, which are in the back of the shop, stacked very low, they start putting them in the front of the shop, and they put them very high. And they make certain walk paths, they probably make them lighter and wider. And so after having restacked the goods, they start restacking the whole supermarket. They change the infrastructure of the supermarket, and they make it more open. Wider walk path, more light, so the attempt to steal goods is lower. The chance that you steal goods is lower, because when you have to pick something out of the stack which sits in front of the cashier or is just in front of some kind of camera, then you will not steal it. So by focusing on the 0.5%, they try to reduce the stolen goods. And there are still some goods that are very small, like razor blades, and they have a very high value. And for those goods, they put in dedicated technology. Dedicated technology, they cannot put that technology on everything because that would cost too much money. So at the end, they wouldn't make any more profit. So what they did is only for the goods that really need that technology, the dedicated technology, they mounted on those goods to prevent those goods from being stolen. So instead of looking at everything, the supermarket started focusing on the risks, on the threats. And that this concept works is shown with Tesco in the UK, supermarket that started all this. And they managed to reduce the 0.5% of the goods being stolen. They managed to reduce it to 0.3%. So the outcome of looking at the world of the supermarket is that the honest customer, the transparent customer, he has a better facilitation. He has a better feeling, he has less logistical burdens, and even may have home delivery. And at the same time, they have, let's say, a better targeting on the stolen goods. But still, you do not serve everyone in this way. Not all the compliant clients may be served in this manner. Because when you would be on holiday and you would go to a supermarket, then you will probably not be a club member of that supermarket. They don't know about your identity. And still you want to have the feeling that you are welcome in the supermarket and that you are not facing all those concrete walls and that you are treated fast and efficient. So that's why the supermarket, even for the remaining clients who are not known as being compliant clients, they put in place everything, what they call fast and efficient. They have cashiers, they have an open access, and they are very accessible and what we call consumer friendly. So even when you're not a full transparent client, you do not need to face a lot of concrete walls. So still they need cashiers at the end for those who are not registered as a club member, but who are still very compliant. What the supermarket does with this is they think different. Completely thinking different, even for those people who at the end still have to take away the groceries themselves, having a consumer-friendly approach, and thinking different means that they need different skills. The supermarket needs new skills, they need new, more knowledge, they need to know about the client's behavior, they need to know suddenly about when are you compliant, how can I serve you. If they want to do home delivery, they need to know about logistics, because otherwise they couldn't make any money with home delivery. So suddenly, next to only selling groceries, they need to know about bringing goods to you at home. They need to know about your behavior. And all these new skills, you can compare it next to when the supermarket is simply selling groceries. It is for a customs officer equal to knowing about legislation. And if a customs officer wants to work fast and efficient, then he needs to know about supply chain management. And when a customs officer wants to know about compliance, he needs to know about business compliance. He needs to know about business's behavior. And you all know who are the compliant clients of customs. We call them authorized economic operators. AEO, the concept that was introduced in the framework of standards by the World Customs Organization, where we implemented trusted traders. So if you take the world of the supermarket and you see what they did in thinking different, we may have a small look in how this looks like in our world.
We have developed a future vision, a dot on the horizon, describing how we can contribute to the safety and security of society, while also providing full support for EU's competitive economic policies. Today, with the benefit of modern technology and sophisticated cross-border networks, this vision is rapidly becoming a reality. The secret lies in bringing order into what appears to be chaos in an increasing volume of goods. To apply systems and statistics, to bring together facts and expectations, to to organize probabilities and possibilities into a tight, integrated whole. How? Well, it all begins with data, and with those who produce them. A flow of information from source to destination, describing each parcel's contents. By bringing all documents and data from the entire chain together, accurate pictures can be obtained of what is entering our country. In this way, we obtain knowledge not only of declared contents, but also of the commodities involved, the trusted trader involved, and the supply chain involved.
So important for us is to identify who is involved in the supply chain. We need to analyze and identify all the trusted parties. We need to know who are our club members. Information is of vital importance to identify our club members, who are the authorized economic operators. And we know with those club members, we know about their internal procedures, we know about their internal processes and their internal compliance and monitoring systems. And in exchange for them giving us a lot of transparency, we can give them in exchange what we call, most important for international trade, hassle-free shipment.
As a result, a significant part of our previously chaotic stream of goods becomes a regulated and predictable flow from trusted traders. Traders whose interest and ours happily coincide. The unhampered passage of trustworthy goods. In return for access to their systems and data, we offer them benefits. For example, inspection without hampering their logistics. Such trusted traders are important to us because they help us achieve our goals without impeding theirs. And much of the same can be said for what we call trusted trade lanes. These are lanes open to every trader who follows the rules enforced by the lane operator. Lanes utilizing certified methods, customs to customs information, and procedures that ensure that even if the actual seller is unknown to us, we know who packed the box and who signed off on its contents.
Who packed the box? Very important. Knowing about smart and secure trade lanes, because that's the other name that we use for trusted trade lanes, where SMART stands for the reliability and quality of the information that is forwarded in the international supply chain and it is used by customs. And secure stands for what we call the physical integrity of a container. Well, we do not know yet how it all looks like. We do not know yet what a smart and secure trade lane should be like. And that's why we carry out a lot of research. We do research in the SSTL projects. SSTL, we tested in smart and secure trade lane projects, which are initiated by the European Commission, and we do it in partnership, in close partnership with customs administrations all over the world, where we try to exchange information between customs authorities, and we try to determine when is a trade lane smart and when is it secure. But it is not only customs authorities that test this. It is also the business sector that tests it. We have business initiatives which are funded by the European Union, like Cassandra and CORE, where we test the business-to-business information exchange and we see what are business benefits to secure international trade lanes, what are business benefits to have a better exchange of data. And when we have all this information gathered, we maybe in future be able to shape smart and secure trade lanes.
What remains is a bit of a mixture. All kinds of shipments from all kinds of traders, some of whom may not be known, to buyers who are equally diverse. And this stream too is slowly but surely yielding to a series of measures introduced by Dutch customs. Measures that relate to the traditional tools of inspection and intervention, but in a very up-to-date way. For example, we have high-tech equipment with which we can scan entire trains without even stopping them. By analysis of the scan data, we can detect any illegal goods or cargo. Our goal is to feature integrated auto-detection systems in the nearby future. If there are any items on board that you don't normally expect to find on trains, our systems will detect them. We have multiple sources of information in constant operation that help us identify high-risk airport and port arrivals, high-sensitivity destinations, and departures, all based on up-to-date big data and statistical analysis. Together with innovative systems at all major air and seaports, we are able to execute highly efficient 100% checks on specific risks whenever and wherever necessary. These are executed in the logistic flow, as we have no trusted parties involved.
And you can compare this part with you being on holiday and going to a supermarket where you are not registered as a club member, but still want to have the feeling that you are treated what we call fast and smart. And that is what created us in creating this vision for the future. We created a dot on the horizon. And the dot on the horizon is at the end where we have a lot of information flowing in to our area and into customs, and we are able to distinguish those different flows. So now you finally know what the cubes are all about in the colors around this event. It is about trusted trader streams, where we try to implement controls in the business systems, in the trader systems. We call it system-based approach, and when we have to check, we do it at the end. We do not want to intervene in a logistical chain. And we try to shape the trusted trade lanes, and trusted trade lanes is where we try to have information from the source. If we know who packed the box and the physical integrity of the container is secured, then we do not need to intervene in the supply chain, but if we need to control, we do it at the beginning or we do it at the end. And even in the blue flow, that is where we want to put in a lot of high-level technology, sophisticated mechanisms, where even for those who are not known as being compliant, they have the feeling that they are treated well, fast and smart, but we are able to find all the risks and to detect all the risks. But to create this model, we have identified 5 different innovation areas. One of them is the trusted trader. When is a trader trusted? When do we talk about compliant traders? When do we know enough about internal monitoring systems? When does an AEO meet all our requirements to a level that we can say this person deserves fundamental trust? And the same is with the smart and secure trade lanes, the trusted trade lanes, where when is the level of information secure enough? When is the physical integrity of this trade lane high enough? That is what we try to find out in all our research projects. And in the blue flow, that's where we need the industry. We need the industry to detect all the risks in our flows of not known to be compliant parties, but we do not want to create any holdups. We do not want to create any interventions. And that is only to identify the flows. But there are more challenges for us to come. Because when you have a train scanning, a train scanner scanning 180 containers on a train passing by with 60 kilometers an hour, then it is very nice that you have high-quality pictures of the contents of the containers, which nowadays are even of a higher quality than when you would go to hospital and have yourself x-rayed. But we still need a lot of officers to analyze all those pictures. So what we're going to achieve is to have auto-detection mechanisms where we ask the industry to help us to develop all these auto-detection systems so that the main risks are detected in an automated way and that we only have to focus on the real risks. And data. One of the biggest challenges that we have is information. The world talks about big data. If someone has a lot of data, then it is customs. We have loads of information available, and we have ages of experience available to deal with this information. But nowadays, we hear about big data challenges, big data systems where, but what the question is, what can big data offer us? Another approach, looking at our data, does it bring us more? Or when we would merge these data with other databases from companies, does it enrich our technology and our risk assessment? Or even could we be able to join up all this information that we have with open sources in Twitter and in Facebook? And would that give us a better hold, a better chance to carry out risk assessment? These are the questions that we put to the industry as customs to help us to realize our dot on the horizon. And what you will see here in the exhibition are the technology providers that can help us to meet these challenges. And what you see here during the days, today we have the yellow flow, Everything is around trusted trade lanes and partnership in trade lanes and how to create smart and secure trade lanes. And tomorrow we will have the day which is on the blue, on the technology. How can technology be used to still do fast and efficient controls in supply chains? And for Thursday we have the green flow, and the green flow is about partnership, about cooperation, about trust. And even the side events, they are in those three flows. When you visit the Rotterdam Harbor Tour, you will see how we deal with supply chain mechanisms and we control in supply chains. When you visit Amsterdam Airport, it is all about the blue flow, how we use technology and how we put technology in place in our controls. And the Heineken Tour is not only, just to be sure, you know what I'm going to say, it's not only about alcohol, it is about trusted traders. So you have a lot of challenges these days, and I hope that this will bring us forward in realizing our dot on the horizon. I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank. Are you...
Frank, just, I know you're not taking any questions, but I just wanted to add something. When we were going back to the supermarket and the handling of all the goods, I don't do it like that. I just put all my goods in the supermarket trolley and my wife sorts it out.
David, to be honest, we've been all over the world a couple of times, many times, and I thought I had found out something very, very smart. But I always see that there are people who are a bit smarter than me. So, please.
Not a lot, I think.
You win in this time. Thank you very much. And what does this bring? Oh, even a man like David Haskett is smarter than me, and this urges us to keep on innovating. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Give him a big hand.